All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Carol Ashley. I'm one of the SRA advisors on the Hub, and I'm happy to be talking with you all today about attendance and punctuality. These two terms are very, very important, especially now that you are all in college and starting your college careers and going on internships and all that jazz. Having a good sense of punctuality now will set you up in the future for any opportunities you have in the future for jobs. And so that's what we're talking about now, because it's super important. And yeah, before we get into that though, I just have a couple of announcements just to make sure that you all are receiving credit for this webinar tonight. So if you have any questions at any time throughout the webinar, just make sure to chat or type in the chat box below any of your questions. It is automatically it's already set to everyone. So if you have a question, then it will be displayed to everyone within this webinar, including myself. But if you would rather just you and I see that question, then make sure to switch everyone to all panelists, and that way only I see the question. Either way, I will not be saying anyone's names during these webinars, but if you just want me to see the question, you can go ahead and do that. If you're watching this webinar for credit, which I assume you all are for class assignment, just make sure that you are no more than 3 minutes late, so everyone has 2 more minutes to get settled in, and that you complete the pre-survey and the post-survey, and that you do not leave early. So let me just say that one more time. You only receive credit if you are here before the 3-minute mark is up, if you stay the whole time, and if you also complete the pre and post survey at the beginning and end of this webinar. Also, if you, in order to complete the pre and post surveys, you must be watching the webinar via laptop or computer or the Zoom mobile app. You will not be able to do the surveys just like on your phone, just talking. There's no way to do that. So again, if you want to get credit for this, make sure that you're on a laptop or a computer of some sort, or the mobile Zoom app. And again, for students who are joining by phone right now, if you're attending for credit, starting next month, you will need to join by mobile phone app or by computer, because we will not acknowledge call-ins for credit. It is hard to engage in presentations and also polls and whatnot if you cannot visually see what we're talking about. So just wanted to put that out there. Again, this is not a webinar that you're just going to turn on and walk away and maybe cook some ramen with. This is going to be a very interactive webinar. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions, and I want you to be typing in your responses to a lot of the scenarios that we're going to talk about. So please, please, please be engaged, be interactive. Please give your responses, because I will be asking, and I will be seeing who's asking questions and who's not. So yeah, we're going to get into it. Attendance and punctuality. I will try to share my screen and unshare my screen just so I can answer any questions you may have. But if I get stuck in the sauce of it all, I will make sure at the end to respond to any questions you may have. Oh, it seems like we have 2 questions already. So I haven't yet to put the survey up. I'm just about to do that, but thank you for being proactive. So here we go. Here is the survey. Cool. So answer the questions. You have a couple of minutes, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes to answer them. And yeah, just guess, because we're going to go over everything within this webinar. Awesome. I see people are responding. Thank you. We have about like 15 people on the webinar right now, so about 6 people have responded so far. Awesome. Sweet, almost there. Waiting for one more person. Okay, great, 100%. Thank you. So I'll just share the results. These are the questions that I asked, and these are your responses. I'm not going to talk too much about them right now because we're going to be talking about it throughout the webinar, but at the end, I'll go over them as well. So thank you already. Everyone's responded and engaged, and this is great. Okay, cool. So on to the webinar. Let me just share my screen so we all can see here. Okay, cool. So attendance and punctuality. This is a topic that these are the topics that we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into all of the nitty gritty of it, oh, I put it all the way at the end. Here we go. I have some questions that I want you all to type your responses to. What are some consequences of being absent or tardy to school? And what are some consequences of being absent or tardy to work? I just want to see what you think. So in the chat box below, just type what you think a consequence might be to being absent or tardy to work or school. And then we shall discuss a little bit, or not discuss, but I shall take a look at your answers. Let me stop sharing really quick so I can see some of your responses. Feel free to respond. I really want to see what you guys think. Perfect. Someone said for school, if you are absent and tardy a lot, then you might get dropped from the class and it's too much work. And if you're absent or tardy a lot from school, or not absent or late to work a lot, then you might get fired. Great. Missing vital information in the class. Yes. Awesome. Yes, a lot of you are saying lowering your grade if you're not there, you're not participating, which means your grade goes down. And that's a big one. You'll be stuck in the loop of catching up, tardy homework. So you're never fully present in class because you're worrying about that assignment that you missed a week ago. Awesome. Wow, thank you everyone. Thank you for being so engaging. We're off to a great start. All right, cool. So back to the presentation. Would you hire someone who was about 100 or absent to school 20 out of the 180 days of school? So it's about 2 days a month that they're absent from school. Or would you hire someone who was late 90 days out of the 180 days? Would you hire this person? Anybody? You can enter in the chat below. Awesome. I'm just going to put this here. So some people said, no, I would not hire them. Neither. Yes. So that is the correct answer. It's hard to hire someone if you're hiring someone and you're asking from their recommenders from previous jobs that this person is late a lot and this person is tardy a lot. It might be harder for you to really accept, will this person do that in my job? Because I don't know if I can trust that. That's not a reliable candidate. So, yeah. Thank you for your responses, everyone. All right, Jalen is late for school. So now we're going to get into the student scenarios that you may have faced or that others may have faced within the student age range. So when I ask these questions, again, I'm going to be asking for your input and what you think the student should do. So Jalen is late for school every day. He takes his younger brother to preschool every morning, and preschool starts later than his first period, which means he's missing his first period to go drop his brother off. So what do you think Jalen should do to fix this situation? In the chat below, type what you think. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen so that way I can see everyone's questions without everyone seeing who's responding. Really quick. Okay. Awesome. You should have another family member drop him off. You should, okay. drop his brother off early if that's a possibility, figure it out with his parents, awesome, and talking with his teacher and creating a plan. So that's really great. These are really, really great ideas. I really appreciate that. So let me go back to the webinar. So the solution was to, like some of you said, talk to a high school counselor to see if he can maybe get an unscheduled first period and make up that class at a community college or online. So like you all said, talking to a teacher or counselor to see what he can do to shift his schedule, or find out if there's any other preschools around that he could take his younger brother to instead. And also a lot of your options were really, really great responses. Possibly having his parents get involved if his parents are around and can help, or getting other family members involved as well so Jalen isn't missing out in school. Awesome, thank you everyone. So Maria relies on the bus to get to school, but if the weather is bad, the bus is late. What do you think Maria should do in order to get to school on time? Now you can chat in the chat box below. Let's see here. Ask her parents for a ride. Wake up a little bit earlier. Yes, these are all great. Take an earlier bus. Yeah. Awesome. Waking up earlier. Great responses. So yes, checking the weather the night before to make sure that the buses won't be late if it's raining. And if it is going to rain and the buses will be late, waking up earlier. Or like you all said, asking someone else for a ride to see if she can get to school on time. And nowadays with our awesome phone apps and all the things we can do on them, calling for an Uber, calling for a Lyft, things like that, another form of transportation that you can take if the bus isn't working out, or if a friend or a neighbor can't help you out either. So Nikita stays up late studying. She gets good grades, but she tends to sleep through her alarm clock and misses her first period. What should Nikita do to get to school on time? Please type your responses in the chat box. Start studying earlier and set multiple alarms and 2 alarm clocks. 2 alarm clocks, yes. Do all her work early. Sleep earlier. Awesome. Great. A lot of you are saying similar things. That's really great. We're all on the same page. So yes, getting a louder alarm clock or setting multiple alarm clocks is one way to stay on top of things and getting to school on time. Also asking a relative to wake her up, just like, hey, I'm gonna go to bed at this time, I'm gonna wake up here, but just in case you hear my alarm going off for like 10 extra minutes, just come in and wake me up. Or she can just work on her own time management so she's not staying up that late anyways. Whatever she's doing during the day is getting in the way of her sleeping at a reasonable hour, so she can't wake up in time. Excuse me. Great. 2 more, I think. 2 more. Ming's grandmother is sick, and sometimes her caretaker can't come to take care of her. So Ming has to stay home with her grandmother to make sure she's eating and taking her medication. What should Ming do so she can still go to school on time? Please type in the chat box below. This one might be a little hard because it's like it's a family member and they're sick. You want to make sure that they're okay, but you also have to go to school. So I see the difficulty in where that could lie. All right. family is more important, take online classes, talk to a counselor about rearranging her schedule, or just some support in general. Great, yeah. These are really good options, yes. Communicating with family members. You could also take care of the grandmother, call a neighbor, two caretakers. Yes, awesome. This is really great. Thank you all for being so engaging. So yes, talking to a teacher to get homework and notes ahead of time, just in case she does need to stay home, is one solution that we think could possibly happen. And also, like someone said, finding a backup caretaker is also an option. Getting two caretakers or calling the caretaker agency and seeing what you can do about that person that's not being reliable right now. And also, yes, asking other people, other family members or neighbors for assistance. This one takes a lot of self-advocation. Again, really pushing yourself to ask for help, talking to your teachers, and being very proactive. So this is a big one, and this is a pretty good example to use because family is involved, and sometimes we are conflicted with family first and our own selves kind of last. So in this situation, putting yourself first, but making sure that your family is still being taken care of. Awesome. I think this is the last one of the student scenarios, and then we're going to get into work scenarios. So Joey works 30 hours a week. Sometimes he takes a day off of school to get some rest and catch up on his chores. What do you think he should do so he can still work and also still go to school? Type in the chat box below. Ask for less hours. Yes, cut down the hours. Those are great reasons. Or just get a totally different schedule. Yeah, those are really good reasons. Awesome. We're all on the same page. I'm feeling it. Work less if financially possible. Yes. Great. So, many of you already said, if he can afford it, work less hours. So he is less tired, so he doesn't have to miss school. And if he is working less hours, maybe pick up a part-time job that isn't as labor intensive, assuming that this one is his initial job is very labor intensive as to why he's very tired. Maybe working as a receptionist at a desk so you can multitask and still get things done at work, but also on the downtime, working on homework or projects. Babysitting as well is another chiller job where you can multitask, making sure that the baby is safe and fed and happy, and while you can also work on homework as well. So great answers, great responses, working less hours, communicating with their manager, being very, very proactive about how to get things done. All right, this is last one. Lucy gets a ride to school from her mom, but her mom takes a long time getting ready in the morning. So Lucy is sometimes late because of her mom. What do you think Lucy should do to still get to work on time or still get to school on time? Take the bus. Yep. Taking the bus is a good one. Taking taking Uber or Lyft or any of those things. Other means of transportation, yes. Yes, being honest with her mom and just open communication. Love that. Yes, again, you're advocating for yourself and you're being proactive about what your needs are. So yeah, great responses, everyone. So yes, finding another way to get to school, bus, Uber, Lyft, asking a friend, and talking to your mom and explaining the importance of getting to school on time. Sometimes it's hard to tell your significant others or your family members that you need to be somewhere at a certain point in time, but if that's really important to you, especially school is so important, then being transparent and away with your family members. And if you think that you can't do that with your mom or your dad, whoever you're living with, because you're like, I'm not touching that, then maybe going to a counselor or a teacher to reach out to your mom so she can feel the importance of the weight of the urgency of being at school on time, and maybe seeing the effect that it might be having on your grades and things like that. So great answers. Awesome. Okay, now we're on to workplace scenarios. This one is not as much typing. It's more of just an okay or no. So I'm going to say some scenarios or read some scenarios out, and you're just going to type in if this scenario is okay or if this is not okay. All right. So Jamie ran out of personal time off, but she calls in sick when her friend invites her to the beach. Type in if this is an okay reason to go to the beach and take time off, or if it's not an okay reason. All right, I'm getting a universal no from everyone, which is true. Jamie ran out of personal time off. She knew the amount of days she had in the beginning of her work, I'm assuming, and she chose to take an additional time off, and it wasn't for an emergency. So in this situation, that is not okay. Jose misses the bus, so he calls his manager to let him know he will be about 20 minutes late to work. Is this okay or not okay? Type in okay or not okay. Yeah, great. I'm seeing some okays. This is fine. I'm seeing some okay-ishes, and I'm seeing so it's okay, but, which is totally fine. Yes, you're all correct. This is an okay situation to be late because Jose is telling his manager ahead of time, or not ahead of time, but he's informing his manager that he will be late. So that is okay. But if this continues to happen a lot, that's when it becomes a problem, because that means Jose is not being proactive about his transportation to and from work. I'm going to skip some of these scenarios just so we can get along with the webinar, because we have about 6 minutes left. So these are other these other scenarios that people will go through when they are unemployed, and with the yes or no with a lot of them. I'll just go through them really quickly. Maria didn't show up for work for 2 days. When she gets back, her manager asked where she was, and she said she was in the hospital with her grandmother. This is not an okay situation because she could have informed her manager 2 days ahead of time about this emergency. Ishmael is planning for a spring break trip, and he tells his manager 3 months ahead of time to take off a week of work. This situation is an okay situation because he informed his manager way ahead of time. And Jeremiah is moving away to college, so he can no longer work at the local shoe store, but he tells his manager 3 days before. This is not an okay situation because it does not give the shoe manager enough time to find an employee. And if Jeremiah does need to ask for recommendations in the future, he may not get a good one from his manager. So now we're on to the consequences of being late and not being punctual. So when you are late a lot, there are a lot of things that you're missing in class. You're missing information, you're missing key dates, key projects, things like that, and you're always having to catch up. So you're never grasping the full present lesson because you're thinking about the things that you're making up. So that is a very big deal when being absent and tardy becomes a habit, is you begin to miss out on your grades and your class time. And because you're absent or tardy, you're not able to participate in class. And a lot of your grades in class is participation based. You can't participate if you're not there, so your grades do falter. And again, when talking about the earlier slides, if you are not coming to school on time or a lot, then how does that look to outside people? It doesn't look great. And you get to have weaker connections with your professors or your teachers because they don't see you that often, and they don't see you and a responsible light because you're not there a lot. So that's a consequence to being tardy and absent a lot. And just doing that now, it builds bad habits, and you're not able to, I mean, you can, but it's really hard to constantly be late and be tardy and try to work out of getting out of that if that's just how you are. It's better to start now to get out of those bad habits so you can be a reliable colleague or a reliable partner or student within college. These are just some tips, like I said before. Getting enough sleep, waking up early, and having a reliable alarm clock is one way to ensure that you'll be on school on time, and always planning the day before what the weather, the traffic is going to be like, and having multiple means of transportation. Always letting your manager know if you are going to be late, no matter what the situation is. Letting someone know that you're not going to be there is a much better feeling than feeling like you just got left in the dark. It's more forgivable if the person knows what's happening. And even with the teachers as well, with the missed assignments and whatnot. Letting them know ahead of time. Having a backup plan, again, Uber, buses, asking friends for a ride. Always have a backup plan, and knowing that when you are constantly late and constantly tardy, these consequences continue to build and build, and your reliability and just your overall professionalism goes down a lot. And just be real with yourself. If you know that you have an 8 a.m. class and you're not a morning person, then maybe next semester, next quarter, this isn't the thing for you, especially if it's a class on a Friday. Just know yourself and know what you can do and what you're willing to do within the future of your college career. And again, you are paying for school now. This isn't just, oh, I'm going to miss class because I can. Every class you're taking, you're paying for it. Cost of attendance at UC Merced is $13,000, and each unit is about $500. So if you're missing a class, a 4-unit class, that's like, do the math, and you're wasting a lot of money. You're paying for this, and you shouldn't be wanting to empty your pockets because you didn't feel like getting up in the morning. So really think about that. And again, attendance is just the first step. That is the first step, getting to class and making sure that you have that participation grade and you're good. But still, being in class, collaborating with others, being attentive and engaging like you all were today in this webinar is this continued steps you have to take to be a successful student. So that was our presentation. We have about 2 minutes left. So I'm going to share the pre-survey so you all can take that for credit. And here you go. If anyone has any extra questions after they take the survey, I will be here after 7:30 to answer them. Once it's 7:30, for those of you that are done with the poll, you're free to leave and you have received credit for this webinar. I want to thank you all for participating and being very, very engaging. It was so awesome to see your responses, and I really appreciate it. Awesome. We have about 4 people out of 16 that have responded so far. And again, if anyone has any questions, just type it in the chat box below, and I will be free to answer them. All right. Looks like everyone, we have 13 people. I see someone has a question, and I will get to it right after the poll. Thank you, Doug. One more person just needs to respond, and then you all are free to go. And again, we'll be here afterwards to answer any extra questions. Okay. Oops. One more person. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the comment. Great. Okay, well, that person has 1 more minute to respond to the question. Yep. Alrighty. Well, thank you all for participating, and have a great evening. Oh, one more question. Welcome. Here are the results if you would like to see the results. All right.